Recording. Yay, we are recording. If anyone hops on, well, I guess you guys can't do it. It won't let me mute anybody. So just mute yourself as you guys are on. If you guys have anything that you want to add, of course, feel free to unmute yourself and talk about it or whatevs. But I'm going to start with 100 Days to Brave, and I want you guys to put one. I'm not religious, so whatever you believe in, whether that's the universe, God, like you do you, boo. But I still want you to put a prayer, for lack of better words, in the chat that you guys want us to touch on today. I really just want to be on your guys' heart and vice versa throughout the day. So as we're going through this, put something in the chat. Okay, your family. Long, long ago, he decided to adopt us into his family through Jesus Christ. What pleasure he took in planning this. He wanted us to enter into his celebration of his lavished gift giving by the hand of his beloved son. Every family has its own unique makeup, strengths, and pains. For many people, loving your family or just being in your family, period, can take more courage than any of our other relationships combined. But God does family perfectly. He adopted us, flawed and often unhealthy, into his family through Jesus. He loves us even when we aren't lovely. It doesn't mean that we are required to do family perfectly. It just means that we are treated and cared for perfectly in his family. So what does it mean to be brave in your family? It means that you can be brave enough to love your family well, even if your family isn't always healthy. It also means that you can be brave enough to stay in your family and to love family and create family. There's this great book called Hillbilly Elegy, and if you haven't read it yet, oh my goodness, fix that soon, please. It's a story about a guy who grew up in rural Appalachia and ended up going to Yale and creating a successful life for himself. He broke the generational norm and created something new. But one of my takeaways from the book, because I'm always thinking about courage, right, was, oh my gosh, he didn't come from a healthy family, though he does a great job honoring them in this book. But he was brave enough to build his own. He has a wife and his kids, and I think he has kids. He has dogs at least. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. Are you brave enough to build a family, even if you had problems in your nuclear family? And what does it look like to love your family well, even if they've hurt you? Every situation is different, of course. Sometimes the best way to love certain family members is from a distance. What might this look like for you? It's following the example of God, who lives and breathes forgiveness and grace. It's asking him for wisdom with those in your family who baffle you. Pray for the courage to stick with your family and love them as they are, the way that God has loved you. Be brave. Call someone in your family. Thank this person for his or her love and support through the years. Maybe family is complicated for you. I get that. Then call someone who has been like family to you. I feel like that's really good. And I think some of us are dealing with personal problems, and that's probably a really good heart opener for a lot of us, just making sure that we're coming from a place of love always. And even if you don't call somebody, for instance, a person that comes to mind for me is my dad. We have a horrible relationship. He's hurt me, and I can't even tell you how many ways, my biological father, and I don't talk to him. But I can create that forgiveness and just think about him and let that go off of my heart today. And that's something that would make me more brave. So, okay, I'm seeing some stuff in the chats. I want everyone to put something in there. Nat says, I pray for the continued safety of my family and friends at this crazy time. That's such a good one. I honestly, you guys, have been trying to have more grace with myself and just come from a place of love. I don't know why, but that has just been really on my heart the last couple weeks. And so that's something that I am constantly asking for. And just more guidance, I feel like especially with everything going on, we need to learn to have faith over fear always. And this business and self-development and all that kind of stuff has really just made that very apparent. So, okay, as you guys are putting stuff in there, I will touch on them. But I was listening to a podcast by John C. Maxwell this morning, and I took a lot of notes because I think that it was just so relevant to our topic today of, what did I say we were going to go over? So retarded. Seriously, pregnancy brain has me on one, you guys. Okay. Oh, yeah. Leading through the pandemic. Huh? Oh, yeah, you were going to.
I just said leadership through pandemic.
Yeah. Leadership through a pandemic. And then this podcast that I was listening to or whatever. And there's so many different things out there, you guys, whether it's by John C. Maxwell, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, There are so many people covering things that are going on right now and how to overcome this. And that's ultimately what I've been listening to every day, just because it's not something that I'm personally struggling with. Like, I'm anxious all of the time. So this isn't something that's new for me. It's not like everything happening gives me more anxiety. I'm just an anxious person. I struggle with that on a daily basis, and this just doesn't make it any better. So when I hear from you guys that you are having anxiety and maybe you don't normally have those issues. What, baby? Huh? Yeah, I'm making you a corn dog. Look. When you guys are having those issues, I like to be able to come from a place of knowledge, not from a place of like lack, right? Or I don't know, or whatever. I want to be able to give you guys educated answers on how to tackle this, both in your business and in your personal life. Okay. So, I want to just jump into everything that I learned. And this, honestly, like, for whatever reason, I'm listening to this book called Signs. First of all, okay, hang on. I want to write this down because I don't want to forget it. Okay, so I'm listening to this book called Signs, and it's all about getting and receiving signs from your spirit guides, which, again, whatever you believe in, that's probably God for you. If you're Christian, whatever. For me, like, when I'm talking about universal energies, I'm talking about spirit guides, like actual spirit angels for me. So believe whatever you believe. Look into that, though, if you haven't ever. It's really, really interesting. Anyways, this book is all about being open to receiving these signs. The universe likes to play games with numerical, like, numbers and with animals. Okay, birds are huge, as well as dragonflies and butterflies. Okay, so those are kind of things to look out for, as well as music. But yesterday, for example, I was having a really weird day. I wasn't feeling that great, but it wasn't like a bad day. I don't know, there was just a lot of anxiety, a lot of things going on, both in my personal life and not. Hang on, sorry. Okay, so yesterday I was open to receiving signs, but I was in kind of a shitty mood, to be honest. And Connor calls me on his way to work, which he never does, by the way. Like, we text every once in a while or whatever, but like, we're just not the couple that blows each other up all day long. We never have been. We've been together 8 years. Like, what am I going to ask you? How are you doing? You know, like, I'll see you when you get home at 6. Like, I love you. Drive safe. And he calls me on his way to work, and I was like, that's kind of weird. And we're just talking, which, again, we're not that couple. Like, we're just not that way. So this is weird in and of itself. And I happened to mention something. I can't remember what he said. He said something that made me bring up my book. And I was like, yeah, I'm just listening to this book called Signs. Oh, because he asked me what I was doing, and I was listening to self-development. So I'm listening to this book, and he goes, oh my God, like, seriously, I'm freaking out right now. I was like, what? He goes, a red parrot just flew in front of my car. Like, we live in Brazil or something. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm on 211 and a freaking parrot just like flew in front of me. Like, somebody lost their parrot. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm cracking up. And then I had just remembered that literally 10 minutes earlier, this whole chapter that I was listening to was on birds. And I have a thing for hawks. If you know me, hawks have always been a huge sign for me. I get them all of the time. It's really weird. And I was telling him, and as I'm telling him this, he gets onto the freeway and a hawk dives in front of his car. And we're just like, this is so weird. And I'm telling him about the birds, and I was like, this is great, babe. Like, I hope that you have an amazing day. Like, this is a really good sign. So I hang up with the phone with him, and I'd only looked at the clock 2 times yesterday for like whatever reason. Normally I'm always looking at the clock. And I looked at the clock at 11:11, 1:11, and then again at 11:11, which number one in sequence is a huge universal sign. So there were all these weird things. And then I just got really excited, like, as I was seeing these and as they were coming up, and like my shitty mood that I was in when I woke up that morning just started to dissipate, because I started to realize that this was so much bigger than me, and that I needed to get over myself and get over whatever little attitude that I had so that I could serve. Because ultimately every day I show up to serve my family, to serve you guys, and to serve my potentials. So I needed to make sure that that was happening. So Then this morning, listening to my book again, and I was asking for signs of what you guys needed to hear this morning, and just that I was on the right track. And I just randomly picked this John C. Maxwell podcast, and it wasn't even about leading through a pandemic. He actually has an entire podcast on that in and of itself, but this just felt so relatable, and that like this was what you needed to hear. So I don't know, kind of weird, but I'm hoping that at least one person on this Zoom like gets something out of this. Okay, I want to read these prayers really quick. I pray during this time that we use it towards love, not hate, more patience towards life. Love it. Letting my doubts go so that I can take control of my life again. I also want to get through schooling, hopefully graduating tomorrow. I'm so excited for you. So that I can work my business and be able to stay home from my 9 to 5 and stay healthy during this time where I am at high risk, sending positive and healthy vibes to everyone. I pray my family and friends use this time to regroup with each other and themselves. I pray for calmness during this time, letting my doubts and fears go, praying for close family and friends that is positive for COVID-19. These are awesome. I love this, you guys. Okay, so you all will be on my thoughts today, especially with all of those things, and I hope that you guys do the same for everybody. I've already prayed over all of your charts this morning. I'm so freaking excited for you. But okay, let's get into the good stuff. So as I was listening to this podcast, the first thing that came up was he was talking about building genuine relationships and friendships with people that are in your organization. And I've been talking a lot about this recently because it is so important and something that I was not stressing enough personally, so I'm sure you guys weren't either, of building good relationships with your potential. Something that I do with my distributors now that I enroll is their very first week, I'm either getting them on the phone or getting them on a FaceTime, which has completely changed my business. I've been doing this for the last like 60-ish days, and it's working amazing. The people at which used to quit within their first 30 days with me, literally the percentage of those people that I enroll are like less people are quitting because I'm doing this. And I honestly think that it is because of this. I have not changed anything else in my training process. I think a huge reason is, number one, they know that I'm a real person. They know that I genuinely care about why they joined this business, and I want to know who they are, right? Like, it's not just, I enrolled you, I'm going to make money off of you, like whatever. No, this is all about them. And when I get them on that 10 to 15 minute little call, I'm literally just asking them a million questions. I'm going over their why again. I'm going over, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, where do you live? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have a dog? What do you like? What are your hobbies? What is the best way that you learn? Like, these are the kind of questions that I'm asking. And it has just been like literally amazing. So if you're not doing that with your distributors yet, that you personally enroll, I highly suggest that you do. And it's crucial that in their first week, I usually try to do it in their first 72 hours, but at least in their first week, so that you can get them face to face and immediately start working on their tasks. So I just really wanted to touch on that again. And then the next thing that they said that I love too was people do what people see, not what they're told to do. So I tell you guys this a lot, like, don't ask your team to do things that you wouldn't do, but what are they actually seeing you do? Hopping on these Zooms is a perfect example. When they see your face, when they go back and watch this recording, they know you're showing up for their business, which means when they're in a leadership position and they're welcomed onto these calls, they're going to show up too. They're going to make this an important priority for them because that's what they're seeing you do. Are you posting every day? Are you adding to your story? Are they seeing your following grow, right? Obviously, you're growing your network. Are they seeing your enrollments come in, meaning you're doing the follow-up, you're doing the self-development? Are you showing them how you're enrolling these customers and distributors, right? So I just thought that quote in and of itself, people do what people see, is so huge. He also said, prioritize your life and build successful habits. And he was talking about the 20-80 rule, where you spend 20% of your time on your team and the people who deserve it, and 80% of your time on your personal growth and your personal business, okay? If you don't live off of this 20-80 rule, you will absolutely not give your leaders the time they deserve, or your personal business the time that it deserves, or your growth, right? A lot of people, especially when you first start this business and you start enrolling distributors, you get so caught up in helping your distributors that by the end of the day, you haven't sent any of your own personal messages. You haven't been growing your network, like whatever it is, right? Or you haven't even done self-development that day. It just completely crossed your mind because the second that you were up that morning, you were immediately helping with screenshots, which is amazing. And we want to have layered leadership, and you need to be there for your team, right? Every single day, that 20%. But you're going to give that 20% your all, right? When you're in that 20%, you're giving it your all. And then you're giving that other 80% to your self-development and to your personal business. So that's why I put today those apps that I downloaded. Those might help you. I also asked, like, what is a 2% change? Like, what are 3 things that are going to make a 2% difference to make you a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday? And for me, that was getting up and getting ready this morning, getting back in my morning routine and making sure that I was waking up when my alarm was going off and not snoozing. Like, honestly, the last 2 to 3 weeks, I don't know about you guys, but I have literally been so off track. Like, I don't know what happened, but like Connor's hours got cut, and the stress, I'm not joking, legitimately ate me alive. Like, I've been throwing up all the time. Part of that is just the fact that I'm pregnant, and that's just how it goes for me, unfortunately. But also stress. My body reacts very, like, highly sensitive to my surroundings. And we're going to touch a little bit more on that in a second. But I just kind of like lost myself. I'm going so fast. Sorry. I kind of lost myself. And so inevitably, my business was paying for that, right? Like, you think that you're working all day, but truly when you go and look back in your messages, you only sent 50 messages that day. And you're like, wow, I thought that I was so much more productive than I was, and I wasn't doing my laundry. Like, I just completely got out of routine. And I was reminded last night when I started downloading these apps, that I need to, if I want to be successful in my personal life or in my business, I have to have successful habits. And that does not mean waking up at 9 o'clock, which, whatever it is for you. For me personally, it's waking up on time and stop snoozing my alarm for literally 2 hours. I was not doing my yoga and things, part of it, again, is that I'm legitimately glued to the toilet throwing up all day. But like, on the days that I could, I wasn't doing it. So I really want you guys to focus on that 2% difference every single day and focusing on that compound effect. Okay. The other thing specifically about this pandemic and everything that's going on, you guys, we literally have to be the people that are business as usual. I can't tell you how many people have swiped up on my stories being like, you know what, like, with everything going on, it's just so nice for you to for me to see you still living your day to day and still building your business and still doing these things. Like, it's giving me a lot of hope. It's giving me a lot of it's making me feel better, honestly. And then also, like, I saw this, it's this little meme thing or like phrase going around, but it's so true, is like, we are not, as network marketers, being insensitive to the situation by still working every day. Literally what we have, you guys, both product wise, especially with these deals going on, but even with the business, is everybody's answer to their problem. People, like, literally, you guys, over 70 million people as of yesterday have filed for unemployment in the US. It's probably gone up since then. That is an insane amount of people who are not going to be able to pay their mortgage. We don't have a mortgage or rent relief bill in effect yet. This is still due. Like, rent was due 3 days ago, and some people don't have it. And we can give them the opportunity to make money right now with these $50 bonuses, with the $15,000 bonus in their first 3 months. Like, the company is giving us on a silver platter the answer to both our financial problems and everybody else's. So it's not insensitive to be doing that during this time. In fact, you're doing yourself and them a disservice by having that mindset and by slowing yourself down because you think you're being insensitive. No, you're stealing from people. You're stealing. You're being selfish. You have to work your business and show them that they are going to be able to pay their rent because of this. This is what's going to put food on the table for their kids right now. I'm not being insensitive. I'm literally giving you the answer. And people are going to either be open-minded to that or not. And it's not your choice, and it's not up to you to decide that for them. But it absolutely is your job to give people the opportunity day in and day out, especially during the shit that's going on right now. This is not a time to slow down. It Works has been through multiple recessions, and come out twice as strong. So it's all about perspective, and it is ultimately going to be a choice that you make in your heart as to whether or not this is going to deter your business. And it literally is a mindset, because I can tell you right now, it's not deterring my business. We have welcomed so many new people into this company and onto this team specifically, literally because of this, right? So I don't want to like hone on that too much, but it's so true. We just got to be biz as usual. And then this literally shook me, because I didn't really, I don't know, it's hard because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so my environment is the majority of the time always the same, right? Almost half of enrollments last month already from this month have been DTs. That's crazy. I have a girl I'm signing tonight. I love it. Okay, so he said, your environment is what you become. So are you in a growing environment, or are you in a stagnant environment? Because that is probably going to be very reflective on where your business is at right now and where your mindset's at right now. So he breaks it down even further. What is a growth environment for you? And I'm going to challenge you, just like I'm challenging myself, to write this out today. What does a growth environment look like to you? That's things like forward focus, making sure that you're focusing on what's next. An affirming atmosphere, meaning, are you filling yourself with Netflix shows on murder or the Tiger King? Not to say you can't like have those little indulgences, but is that what you're constantly doing with your time and wasting your time on? Or are you focusing on your personal growth and your business growth? Who are you FaceTiming every day and talking to? Are these people looking to grow with you? Like we hear all the time, your 5 inner circle is going to be not only what you become, but also your income is going to be the average of all these 5 people's income. If you're noticing that the people you're hanging out with don't have money, I'm not saying this rudely, but you need to find a new crowd. You need to bring new people into your 5 inner circle so that you can grow. This isn't to say that the people that are there now you don't still love and respect, but maybe you're going to take a step back because you're ready for the next step and they're not, right? That's with your team, with your friends, and with your family. With your spouse, doesn't matter. You're focusing on what's next. When you hit that, what's next? When you hit that, what's next? It's infinite. There is no end, right? He was also talking about literally when someone is talking to you and they're being negative and they go into this negative spiral and you don't want to hear it anymore. He goes, I literally have done this for 10 years and it works every single time. So I want you guys to try it with me. So take your 2 pointer fingers. You're listening to someone negative. You're going to stick them in your ear and you're going to go, ah, you're done. They'll immediately, I guarantee you, when you do that, they will stop talking. They're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? I'm sorry, but I just don't choose not to fill my mind with negative energy. So I'm here for a 3-minute BMW if you want to bitch, moan, and whine. Otherwise, when that 3 minutes is up, we need to move on. Like, I need to be focusing on the positivity. That's not saying that I'm not a human and I have anxiety or I deal with certain emotions or I'm pissed off in a certain mood, but you have to search for the solution for that. He also said, how many growing friends do you have? If it's under 5 to 10, you need to find new friends. Seriously, stop acting like we're in high school and that it's not okay for you to grow and have new people in your life. And the thing is, you guys, when you start growing and you start growing your inner circle, the majority of the time, those people are going to wonder what you're doing because your life will progress. And they're going to eventually either come along with you or they won't. And again, that's not your decision to make. That's not up to you. But it is up to you to show the way. And it is up to you to fill your mind with positive things and to do the damn thing with the 2%. And truly, truly having a passion for being a better version of yourself every day. everybody else is going to come along with you. And this doesn't mean, you guys too, when I talk about the income thing or filling your circle with new people, that doesn't even necessarily need to be like in physical form. Like obviously the next step for me could be, let's just say, a millionaire or whatever. Like I'm not there yet, but I would love to fill my inner circle with millionaires. Wouldn't you? Drop a 1 in the chats if you would. So obviously, I don't necessarily know where I'm going to find a millionaire that's willing to be my friend, right? Having said that, I can absolutely learn from these people on podcasts, on YouTube videos. That can be a part of your inner circle too. So Ed Mylett, Tony Robbins, Andy Frisella, Tom Bilyeu, right? Like all of these people. Oh, I'm sorry, I was confused. Someone wrote in the comments, they're mean sometimes though. Then you're not finding the right millionaire. That's on you. That's your process. You have to find the people who are positive, influential, have a great mindset, and are forcing you to grow in positive ways, right? So for example, the 4 people that I just named off, you should have written down, and those are the people that you're going to listen to after this call. Those are the people that you're going to start filling your 5 inner circle with, right? Every single day, we're going to be learning from these people. Okay, this is what I want to leave you on. Drop in the chat if you know, okay, repeat the names. Rachel Hollis is a great one. Ed Mylett, Andy Frisella, Tom Bilyeu, Simon Sinek. I could literally name off a million. Tony Robbins. Was that slower? Did you guys get those? I recorded this too, so you guys will be able to go back on replay. I know, sometimes I literally talk way too fast. Sorry, okay. Anyways, the thing that I wanted to leave you guys with is, and I know that this has been like a super red talk, so know that this is coming from a place of love, but drop in the chat if you know the golden rule. What is the golden rule? Golden rule of life. You learn it when you're 5. Somebody put it. Yes. Treat others like you want to be treated. We're going to debunk this statement right now, which I had never heard in my life, because we've all lived and heard this and been taught this literally since the day we popped out the womb. Treat others like you want to be treated. Guess what I learned this morning, sister? Not everybody's you. And some people don't want to be treated like you do. And that's just reality. Some people don't want to be led like you do. That's why color personality tests are so important, because you have to adapt to your team. And they all need you in different ways. Every single one of you guys needs a different version of me, right? They say everybody has a unique path to growth. Don't assume everybody wants to be treated like you do. I thought that that was so good. I don't feel like I need to elaborate on that at all. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it was just like, because we all do live by that. And it's like, you know, we even say it in a day-to-day. I've said it to my kid, but it's not true. And it was just like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, do you guys have any questions or anything that you guys wanted to add on? Like I said, I know this has been a little bit of a red talk, but ultimately your perspective and your mindset will absolutely write your paycheck. And if it's not there, then it's not there. And you know that you need to grow on that, right? But we all need to grow every single day. That's the reality. If you're not growing, you're dying. Quote by Grant Cardone, right? All right, I'm going to stop